Are there goddesses? Asked the king of 3 mysterious figures who have entered his hold, telling him of strange northern gods. Yes, they respond. And among them, Frigg is foremost, and second is Saga. That's a moment from Snorri's Prose Edda, a summary of Icelandic legends as told by a Christian. And the work is obviously not comprehensive and has a lot of differences with other legends that we have access to, but when it comes to Saga, it's one of the few things we have. Saga is probably one of the more controversial deities in that many seem drawn to her. However, very little is known of her. And legend tells of her abode, Sökkvabekkr, which is my attempt at a pronunciation. I'm going to write it out for you right here. But it translates to the sunken beach. And there she is described as drinking daily with Odin, as they are deep in discussion. Elsewhere, she and her home are simply listed, but never really expanded upon. So, from legend, we understand Saga to be important, such that she is listed as second among the goddesses, only behind Frigg, the wife of Odin. There are other goddesses in which much is mentioned about them, such as Freyja, who is the centerpiece of many stories, and has been found to be suggested in many more. However, we don't really find this for Saga, who is listed as very important, despite the fact that we have no stories other than the casual mention of her name. There are various theories about the interrelationship between Saga, Frigg, and Freyja, one of which suggesting that they are simply separate names for Freyja, just as Odin has many names. And this is the possible result of many northern religions syncretizing into a pantheon that seems composed of many high gods. But the stories seem to present Saga as separate and important, and likely with many lost legends. It's important to keep in mind that the myths that we have of the gods are incomplete, and that many of the stories that we have are from a stroke of luck that one scribe or another just happened to favor this particular poem and included it in a collection. It is unfortunate that Saga's stories have been largely lost to time, but the picture of a goddess that invites Odin into her home to hold discussions with the wisest of gods is an image that has fascinated many heathens into various conclusions about who this deity really is. Her name means to see, suggesting that she might have been a seer of some kind, drawing parallels with Frigg and Freyja, who deal with the magical practice of Sether, known to be a fortune-telling magic, deliberately influencing and even altering the threads of time and fate of men in the web of the weird. Heathens usually see Saga as a storytelling goddess, bringing to question the nature of the discussions with Odin in Saga's home. Who is listening to who? Is Saga picking the mind of the wisest of gods, or has Odin come to listen to stories? Is he trying to woo her, or does he simply enjoy her company? Odin is usually depicted as fierce and imposing, or cleverly tricking an opponent. So to see him just mentioned so disarmed with a goddess, only offhandedly mentioned, inspires curiosity that will likely never be satisfied to any degree. And what are they drinking together? Could it be the mead of poetry so closely associated with Odin? These are mysteries that are just given to us by Saga's brief mentions. Reconstruction sometimes requires a little filling in of the gaps, informed by history, but also informed by your experience. Otherwise, there really isn't a functional spirituality there. And Saga is a goddess where, at times, you might find yourself kind of picking an answer to these various questions, just to explore. And if it doesn't feel right, just revise your experiment. And honestly, you might have to be comfortable with never really knowing the answers, because they're simply unavailable to us. But honestly, that's fine. That's history. But if you want to know what I think about Saga, not, what I've learned from history, but from practice or what my guesses are, I'll give you a little insight. Again, this is from my perspective. My personal practice with Saga has been one of a storyteller and a goddess of creativity. She's a goddess to give ritual to before starting an artistic endeavor, such as writing or painting. And she's been compared with the Greek muses as possibly filling a similar role, so the stories that we have are, after all, called sagas. I get the sense that she's a perceptive goddess, and that Odin's visits with her are to gain some of that perception. The god of wisdom might seek counsel from her because, as a storyteller, you have to be good at observation and understanding perspectives other than your own. And understanding their motives, their strengths, their weaknesses, kind of what makes them who they are. And such a goddess would be one that would enthrall a god such as Odin. But with that, hail to my patrons for making this content possible. It's good to have people at your back. Hit that subscribe button and give the bell a nice drink of mead. Be sure to set it on all because, YouTube's stupid. And remember to find a way or make one.